From the Middle is proud to be a founding member of Odd Pods Media.
Oh, for the love.
Sorry, just clearing my Mountain Dew hole.
I got my phone hole cleaned today.
That's where you keep it?
You're so cerebral and you're so developed and evolved. From the Middle after dark over here.
Hey, this is Dave over at the Beer in Front podcast, and I want to congratulate From the Middle for their 200th episode. I only have one nitpick: the name of the show. Every time you release the show, I start singing that song From the Middle, and it's in my head for at least a day. So change the name of the show from episode 201 on. Change it to something more catchy like Born to Run, or change it to like Bohemian Rhapsody or something like that. But it's a minor nitpick. But seriously, congratulations on episode 200. Here's to 200 plus more. Congratulations, everyone.
Hey, y'all. Your buddy John here from Grabbing the Brisket. Huge congrats on 200 episodes. I started listening to y'all when you were about 100 episodes deep. I immediately went back and started listening to your older episodes, and just recently realized that I have completely finished your entire From the Middle catalog. So yeah, for the past couple of years, I've been able to listen to usually a couple episodes a week of y'all, just an old one and one of your new ones, and get my fix. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm going to need you guys to start putting out multiple episodes a week now. I feel like you're serious about this. You could do that for me. But seriously, y'all immediately had me feeling like I was in the room hanging out with you every time I listened. And instead of yelling at my radio, I can just text you guys with every stupid little thought I have about your episode. I'm sure you guys are thinking that giving me your number was the biggest mistakes you've ever made since you started this podcast. I love how you guys go from serious and sincere talking about dad stuff to just like completely whipping out your nerd and talking about Star Wars and Lego. It's all awesome. All your guests have been freaking awesome. Again, just a huge congrats, and here's to 2,000 more, guys.
Well, if you haven't figured it out by now, this is episode 200 of our little show that we started almost 4 years ago, or at 4 years ago. And
Very close.
Man, very kind words from some of our friends in Odd Pods Media. Hi, guys. Welcome to 200. How are you feeling?
Loosey goosey. It makes me smile hearing people like that, guys whom we respect, I think, in the podcast universe, sending us kind messages. So
Very nice.
Thanks to those two guys. I have no idea how he knew that. Corey called it his little nerd, but
Whipping out your nerd. Oh, that was good. Dylan, does that give you all the warm fuzzies in your little robot heart?
My heart is very full at this time. Yes. It's very exciting. We've had so much fun over the last 4 years, and who knows how many future episodes. And it's wonderful to hear from other shows that have become friends. And there's huge shout out to our families who put up with this on a regular basis. And also, I think we need to start with a huge thank you to our longest tenured sponsor, Artius Man. Just a huge shout out there. I'll give you the quick pitch. All kinds of awesome skincare, men's grooming products, beard products. Go to artiusman, artiusman.com. Use promo code The Middle. Save 25% off of your first order. So huge discount and a huge thank you to our families in Artius Man. We wouldn't be here without those folks. So very, very cool. Very excited.
So tell them what we're going to do for the remainder of this episode. We've done a little preparation, which is not always the case for one of our episodes, as you definitely know if you've followed along for this long. What's the plan, guys?
Well, we're going to go through the same thing that we did at our 100th episode. We're going to go back through the last 100 episodes and one by one just kind of mention, sometimes quickly, sometimes maybe some discussion, what our favorite moments were from each episode. We divvied it up among the three of us. And so Dylan is going to start us out with run through 33, and then I'm going to pick it up at 34. And then Corey is going to finish us off starting at 167 all the way through 199. And so we have a lot to cover. I'm excited about the discussion. Dylan starts us off, buddy.
Yeah, these little favorite moments and little recaps of the episode. We did it for 100, and it was such a fun exercise, not only like the preparation, but also the execution. And so I was really glad that it didn't take much for us to decide what to do for 200 because we had so much fun doing it for 100. So here we go.
One quick clarification. How do we stop you if we want to double click on something that you're mentioning?
I want you to actually reach your bony little fingers up in the air and double click in the air. Because if you aren't subscribed to YouTube, you should be. And that'll be a nice little plug to watch these total nerds do their fingers up in the air with the double click. So I think that'll be.
All right, let's go. Let's get through it.
And I hope you make me do that when it's my turn. Because
100%. 100%. Let's go.
All right, let's go. Episode 101. We're too dumb to understand even 101 level ideas. And Kendall's kids made it to America's Funniest Home Videos. 102. Patrick Metal stopped by and we had a mostly serious discussion about mental health. Go check that one out. Your mental health is seriously important, and that's no joke. 103. COVID couldn't keep us down. We're back in the studio with friend of the show, Greg, to discuss Godzilla cicadas. And definitely not Godzilla and cicadas, a separate topic. It was definitely Godzilla-sized cicadas. Episode 104, surprise, surprise, Corey and Dylan share a mom. Meanwhile, Kendall has non-foster yard ants and a foster bird. Episode 105, we did a pod mashup with Super Media Bros. They like cult films, movies, music, wrestling, and more, so you should go like them too. Episode 106, do you prefer shaken, not stir, Dylan, or chocolate milk and Funyuns, Dylan? We discuss, you decide. We love to stream stuff and discuss. Oh, you'll see. Episode 107, we discuss everyday things we just don't get, where you all learned, once again, how dumb we really are.
There's a theme here so far. Our
Yes.
dumbness. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, I think our cover art gives that away, which is great. Like people, they know what they're getting into.
Dylan, it's one of Dylan's favorite things is to self-defecate.
I love self-defecation, just huge. But anyways, episode 108. Remember when I said we were really dumb? In episode 108, we give out health advice after Corey admits he won't cancel Crystalia. Episode 109. What's more American than the 4th of July and hating the BMV? Come and get it.
These are good. I hope the goal here is that next people go back.
Dylan wrote out one-liners for all of them.
That's exactly. That's what I did last year, much to both of your surprises, and I had to do it again.
It surprised me again. Yeah, you're doing a far better job. You're going last next year. Next time.
Fine. I'm so excited to do that again. Episode 110. Where in the world is Chris Kattan? Hiding into Tiger Belly? At least Amazon has Peppa Pig underwear. Classic cinema, paramotoring, and COVID tip culture. Oh my.
Wow.
Episode 111, Samson 111 or 111, the creator of our podcast theme, is killing it on SoundCloud as he paints with music.
Yeah.
Episode 112, find your community in life. Then ignore them to stay at home and stream stuff. We cover more media than a Blockbuster store. Episode 113, Ghost Kitchen food is spooky as crap and as crap. We also cover more topics in this crappy episode than the crappy recrap can cover. Episode 114. Remember the French air horn guy at the Olympics and how he eventually came clean? Speaking of coming clean, who lets themselves into other people's fridges? Episode 115, sometimes we talk about fishing. Sorry. But it's okay because we pivoted to the billionaire space race and to Star Wars. Sometimes we don't take hints and keep talking about fishing. We also cover football and WWE. Also, I spilled quesadilla sauce on my shirt and the world is boiling outside. If you want to know where my head was at in that episode. Episode 117, Nate Weber from the History Channel series Alone came on the show and made us all feel like children with baby hobbies. What an awesome episode.
I mean, one of the highlights of our podcast. Such a great guest. I've actually stayed in contact with Nate. We text from time to time. It's just so giving and generous with his time. And when I tell people about our show, I'm so proud to, in the lineup of guests we've had, say professional comedians, artists that have been on the cover of Mad Magazine, and also contestants from Alone on the History Channel. And they're like, what? So yeah, that was special.
It's very cool. Speaking of which, Nate, again, episode 118, Nate Weber continues to haunt us in our lack of manliness. We cover more topics than BuzzFeed, and we do our first taste test. Episode 119, Dylan is no longer with us. He didn't die. He's just out this week. Thank God, because we all need a Dylan break. Meanwhile, Corey and Kendall can't come up with a topic more interesting than fishing and what they're watching.
That does say something about your absence.
Episode 120, shocking. We taste test Mountain Dew and like it. Dylan finally makes it back to theaters for Marvel's Shang-Chi. Sebastian Maniscalco comes up again for the millionth time. And the rest of the topics list looks like a Scrabble board. Episode 121, guest JP Vitullo comes onto the show so an actual expert can tell us about paramotoring instead of us guessing from YouTube videos. JP was super interesting, so go back and give him a listen.
I haven't seen him flying around yet this spring. I need to check in on him.
You need a mid-bit update from JP for our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
That's true. We miss him. Episode 122, Pet Peeves Part 3 and Freak Flags Part 2 are back, baby. Live, laugh, love, and rate this episode 5-star, listeners. 123, listeners gave us valuable feedback before we switched to Daniel Craig and some 007 trivia. Also, my eyebrows sit differently when I do certain things. 124, so much streaming. Night.
Some of these, like, I'm not even remembering.
You're going to have to go back and listen.
I know. It's like a whole new show.
Oh, this is great. So, some of the fun of this is some of it is obviously tied directly to the episode, but some of these are little callbacks to the brilliantly written episode recaps that Kendall does every week. If you don't go in and read those every week, you're really missing. It's like we've talked about how the Lord of the Rings bonus content behind the scenes are almost as good as the movies. And that's really Kendall's writing for these episode recaps. So you'd be remiss to not go read those before or after you listen to every one of our episodes.
Well said. And thank you, Kendall. It's always not just your editing and trying to make it sound good, but like packaging it with a really well-written bow each week. You never cease to amaze.
I love writing those things. And, some weeks I don't think of a witty way of saying things. And when I do, I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
So it takes longer than it probably should.
The time you invest shows. So thank you. So yeah, that's an encouragement to go back and check out all the little captions on Instagram and socials.
Absolutely. Episode 125, Halloween traditions here, there, and abroad. Mix that with a dash of Honest Company slogans, and you've got a popular podcast potion mixed and ready.
Ooh.
Episode 126, the boys from Potaskew stop by for a pod matchup with all their stories.
I remember those guys.
Who?
Yeah. Episode 127, full freaking stop. We had a freaking Lego design master on the show.
That was fun to
him. Yeah.
to have somebody that works for the company that you've idolized since you were a kid, so cool.
It's very cool. Very, very cool. And I found out we were talking about the Lego Rivendell set, which I'm a huge fan of. I missed all the Lord of the Rings, like in Hobbit's Lego sets when they were out, I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago. And so we were discussing the Rivendell set. And I guess Wes worked on that one as well, which is super cool. You said some of the plants were like new plant pieces that didn't even exist before that one.
Yeah, he had to get conceptual sketches approved for some new foliage that would make up the elaborate Lord of the Rings set.
Love it. So 127, go listen to an actual Lego design master. Episode 128, what does the Nintendo Switch, squirrels, and Jim Gaffigan have in common? This podcast. Oh, and don't call me baby. Episode 129, Thanksgiving foods, a list of other topics so long Richard Simmons couldn't work it, then Christmas decorating. Episode 130. Give you a little bit longer for the laugh on that one. Episode 130, more Thanksgiving food, football on Thanksgiving, of course. And you'll never guess, streaming. Cue Chubby Hubbles. Episode 131, listeners send voicemails. We discuss Van Gogh, not in any meaningful way, and kids' art, and even in less meaningful ways. and read our favorite topic, streaming. Episode 132, Lambo, Home Alone, and Harley's flank an episode full of more streaming crap and a little gaming discussion for once. Episode 133, the end of my tour of our beautiful favorite moments and recaps. Episode 133, finally, I'll end with 133 and the reason for the Christmas season. Christmas movies, music, and shopping, and Jesus.
Oh, expertly done.
Well done, man.
Thank you.
I think like it strays. Let me finish. It strays from what I felt like we're doing here, which is like recalling our favorite memories from these. You just gave like a quick recap of all of them. You're like that kid who like didn't get the assignment, but did so well that passed anyway and outscored everyone just because of how much work and effort. And he said, well, I'm not, screw the directions. I'm doing it this way. And you knocked it out of the park.
And that's how I got here. That's how I've made it this far in life. I haven't had a very hard life. Okay. All right.
Well, speaking of classes,
you had to paint a house in 2 days, man. That's
speaking of class assignments, I'm not sure what it says that 2/3 of us did the recap thing instead of the favorite moments, because I'm over here like that's what I did too. So maybe you misheard the instructions.
No.
Oh, this is going to be even better now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play the next 2 voicemails.
Do it.
Gentlemen, it's Midnight Smoke from BFYTW. I just wanted to call and congratulate you guys on 200 episodes. This is huge. It's momentous. It's rare that a podcast gets to 100, let alone double that and get to where you guys are. The milestone is amazing. So from all of us at BFYTW, I want to give out our personal congratulations and all of our love to you guys. Keep it up. Love y'all. Much love. Later.
So nice. Thanks so much, Smoke. We love you too, buddy. And then here's a message from our boy over at Super Media Bros. Super huge congratulations on 200 episodes. It's an honor to be friends and to also be part of Odd Pods Media with you guys. You easily make Wednesdays a little bit better simply by dropping new episodes. Also, we need to get you guys back on for another Cult Cinema Showdown, but with some better movies this time. Keep up the awesome work. Here's to another 200. Richie and Devin, Super Media Bros. Sunglasses emoji.
Love it. But you know what? Good movies is not what makes that segment fun.
That's right.
I want to get tortured. That's what I want.
I don't know. I could think of a few cult movies that don't have a huge following, but would be significantly more fun. than what we ended up watching, and I kind of fell asleep through. So I'd love to go back. Is the answer yes, a million times yes. We'll come back.
Kendall, my man, can't wait.
All right, here we go.
With your chunk of 33. Let's go.
134. 134 was our after Christmas episode, which are the after Christmas episodes. The after holiday episodes are among my favorites. I like cataloging our lives for future me and my future family, or my family's future. Not that I plan on starting another family. But also that's the episode where we talked about how we don't understand what Gen Z is talking about and all of their weird things. Period. 135, we did the 2021 MIDI Awards, and Corey wore a suit. And I got to introduce him to Hardy, which changed his life. Episode 136, we talk about the world's largest hairball right here in Ohio. It wears a cowboy hat, Guinness Book of Records. They drop it with a forklift on New Year's Eve. Episode 137, there are some celebrities who are ugly. Sorry, Brian Posehn. Episode 138. We have these moments of real talk every once in a while in these episodes. We usually try to be goofy. There are some moments where we talk about something so meaningful to us. Often it is about parenting. Specifically in 138, we talk about how and when to your kids dive into new hobbies and things. And looking back on that one, I can say that since then, our family has kind of solidified ourselves as being a Taekwondo family, which is not something that I would have ever said or guessed about myself even a year ago. And here we are. So we're double clicking over there. Both of you. I got 2 double clicks.
I'm one recap behind. So far, you're on par with what Dylan was doing. You're doing pretty much the same thing.
That's because I'm trying to ad lib.
Oh no! Just do what Dylan prepared.
I've challenged myself, and I'm going to do it.
No, I want you to do what you prepared. That's what make it more fun.
I mean, I'm still reading off of the notes that I took.
Okay, so going back.
Sorry. Yeah.
Speaking of ugly celebrities and how sorry we are to Brian Posehn.
Yeah.
I've never looked more like Brian Posehn than I do at this exact moment.
You need to find some glasses right now.
What did our mom used to say when we were little? You'll turn into what you make fun of.
100%.
Oh yeah.
100%. If I had some black frame glasses right now, oh my gosh. Okay, keep going.
My double click, by the way, is that it shouldn't even really. He would never listen, but if he did and he heard that, you should think so little of that comment, because we all would love nothing more than to have you on the show and to get to talk to you for an hour or two anyways. So don't read into that, Brian. You're welcome on anytime.
And for a living, he talks about music and geek culture.
That's what I'm saying. He would fit right on our show.
He looks like it. Yeah. Episode number 139, as a Detroit Lions fan, is a very odd episode because we talk about Matthew Stafford going to a Super Bowl. And at that point in time, if you were to ask any Lions fan 8 months earlier if Matthew Stafford is ever going to go to a Super Bowl, our answer would have been no. And there he was in a Super Bowl. If you would have asked a couple of years ago to any Bengals fans, are you going to end up in a Super Bowl? They would say absolutely not. Matthew Stafford played in the Super Bowl against the Bengals. NFL history for a Lions fan, it was very sad. Episode number 140, we do taste tests. One of our favorite things to do. I will say also that for Corey, the liquid death taste test, I think, turned into a lifelong relationship.
Another
episode number 100. Yeah.
Very impressionable. You recommend somebody, they're my new favorite artist. We try a water, it's my new favorite flavored water.
We even talk about how their marketing scheme is just it's designed and it's self-aware of the fact that they're like over marketing the crap out of canned water. And there's a lot of tug in cheek to it. And Corey's like, yeah, I know. I get it. I don't care. As a matter of fact, I kind of like that about you too. So,
and I have to say, the taste test is something that we always wanted to put into the show, I think, or we knew pretty quickly. Food is such a pillar of a discussion of the show that it just feels like it belongs. Like other channels feel like they're trying to like shoehorn something in, and with us, it feels so natural. I feel like to just start jamming drinks and food in our face and then talk about it. So I just love it. It's so good.
That's a perfect segue for episode 141. Corey talks about Amish food, and there's a lot of jokes about butts. Episode number 142. A blue Yeti was found passed out in the morning, surrounded by powder. Episode number 143. Dylan has a bad experience with Goldbelly ordering a smashed king cake.
Yep.
That was one of several bad food delivery moments that that Dylan shares on the podcast. And I think there was a redeeming one that happened sometime after.
Yes, Meet Mitch, Kansas City barbecue. We had a very good experience with Meet Mitch the next time.
Episode 144, we do an investigative reporting on McDonald's ice cream machines. And we talk about a company that had a fix to the McDonald's ice cream machines and how McDonald's sued them to oblivion and told all their franchise owners to re-break your machines.
I love seeing the topics that get traction with listeners. And by my calculations, we get the most amount of articles, memes, texts, and emails from friends and listeners about the McDonald's milkshake machine thing. It's so cool to me.
Indeed. Stupid McDonald's. Episode 145, my personal barber was a guest on the show. Ray the barber, still my barber. I'm going to be seeing him probably on Thursday. This week.
America's barber at this point.
America's barber
is Ray. Yep.
Love the guy. He's about to go full freelance now. So he's going to get out of the little collection that he's in. And I believe he's going to be cutting out of his garage for a while. So
this might be bad.
Ray.
This might be bad for his business model, but he recommended to me the Bald Buddy product for my head because I now go to him for just a beard trim, obviously. And he's like, hey, man, you want to get a really good close shave on your head. He himself owns a Bald Buddy, and it's just a little handheld thing with 4 rotating blades on it. And you can use it in the water in the shower, or you can also use it dry, and it works great.
Fantastic. So, there you go. For all the oldies out there.
Bald Buddies.
I probably should do that at some point.
Corey finally has a buddy.
No, Corey's my bald buddy. Where was I? Episode number 146. I have the opportunity to settle an argument between Corey and Dylan about who a certain TikTok musician looks like. Episode number 147. We talk about the Oscars because the Oscars had occurred before the episode dropped, but they had not occurred before we recorded. And it was very clear that we had not watched the Oscars.
Sometimes that trick works. This time it did not.
You know, we used to, when we first started recording podcasts, we would do 2 at a time typically. We would meet at my office and we would record 2 episodes, and we would say the first episode that we're going to record is going to be the one that has time sensitive material because it's going to drop in a couple of days. And then the second one that we record, we're going to make as generic as possible because who knows what's going to happen between now and a week and a half from now.
Right.
And even just those couple of days or in many cases, only overnight, stuff happens and we miss stuff. And it's just funny sometimes. That was one of those times. Episode number 148. My good friend from high school, Jim Taylor, third chaired for Corey, who was out. And I tested several different frozen chicken nugget preparations. Episode number 149. We talked about McCamey Manor, which has always fascinated me that people go to this place. I kind of understand. Just a brief recap, like they make you sign a book of a waiver, and they do everything except for kill you. Like they will touch you. It's like a scary house, and the people are allowed to touch you. They are allowed to hurt you. They're allowed to cut your hair. They're allowed to, pry fingernails off or whatever. Like, you're probably going to vomit. They're going to make you eat things that will make you vomit. Waterboarding, like, you name it. If it's not lethal, they do it to you there. And nobody has lasted the length of time that you're supposed to last to win a cash prize.
I became fascinated with this topic because of our show. And you had heard about it, Kendall, but Lily had recently heard about it and brought it to my attention. After this episode, I don't know how many hours of documentaries, investigative reports, and their own videos I ended up deep diving because I was so fascinated with this place. And how they haven't been managed to get shut down is, they can just say they sign a waiver, right? But like even then, I think they're breaking some laws. And the way that this guy keeps eluding getting shut down is amazing to me.
Yeah. So McCamey Manor. Don't visit.
Or if you do, please be a guest on our show.
If you do, come on the show. Episode 150 was the first episode where we introduced Answers from the Middle. We talk about was it the very first one or second one? It was in that episode, a particular situation where I like to honk at strangers in the neighborhood and wave at them. It's only going to do one of two things. It's going to confuse them, or they're going to be like, it's going to make their day because someone honked and waved at them, and they might think it was a friend of theirs. They might not know, but it made them feel good. But my wife thinks that that's bullying. Episode number 151. I sat out on that episode, but the brothers Hubble shared in the beginning of the Never Flusher saga. Episode number 152. A victim of the Flusher, the Never Flusher, emails in responding to the previous episode. Also, Kendall takes his kid to a Marvel exhibit. Episode number 153. John from Grab 'em in the Brisket, we heard from him earlier, gives us a virtual tour of Buc-ee's. And holy cow, was that magical.
Oh, we got a double click. We got a double click.
Oh, double click. See, I need verbal cues.
I gotta say, I know you guys don't do the Twitter. It's mostly me running the From the Middle Twitter. You guys do lots of other stuff.
Word.
John, this is one of many, many times that John has interacted, and he's not kidding when he said that he's listened to every episode. He would quote back from the Grab 'em in the Brisket podcast page, like quotes of our show with a link to find it on Spotify and hear it with some of the funniest moments, and has done that for a long time on Twitter, and has interacted on Twitter especially. And it's been so much fun. And so just an extra double down on, not only was it cool of him to send that Buc-ee's videos, he also sent us some Mountain Dews to taste test at one point, the holiday fruit quake. John has been an awesome listener and podcast bro. So just to double down on that, because it makes it more fun. The more interaction we get, the more fun it is.
John and the rest of the barbecue brisket boys, I think about them quite often, actually. I made a pot of chili the other day, and I was thinking to myself, I wonder if they'd be proud of me. I wonder if they tasted this chili, in my head, they like knock on the door and I'm like, yes, I did just cook a bowl of chili and I need you to taste it for me.
You need to share it with them on social media because they would love to weigh in. They are not pretentious judges. I will say they are not.
And we did clear the air of like Texas chili, like branded Texas chili, I think, like doesn't have beans. That doesn't mean they don't put beans and chili in Texas. Like that's beans and chili is still a thing, even in Texas. Just don't call it Texas chili. So I had beans in my chili. It was not Texas chili, but a Texas guy might like it. Episode number 154, Andy Woodhull, comedian, guest host on our show. Guests on our show. My favorite part of that episode was toward the end, and I wish that we would have hit it earlier in the episode. You two started talking and asking him about Lego because I think you saw something in the background. His eyes lit up and he got up and disappeared and came back with stuff to show you. And there was this like the bro moment that happened out of nowhere. And it was like you three had a club. It was wonderful.
That was actually a really good lesson to me because, and nothing against him, but something about his energy or our line of questioning, it was good. It was good content, and he was giving us good answers. But there was just something lacking. But the minute we struck a chord with a different aspect of his life that I'm sure he doesn't get asked about outside in the other interviews that he does, like that actually taught me a lot with my day job and connecting with people and how to be a good interviewer and how to come up with things outside of what, you know, celebrities and people who are known for doing something probably get asked all the time. That was just a really good use case in finding the thing that makes people light up and how it can change the trajectory of a conversation. So that was so cool. I'm glad you pulled that out.
Yeah. Episode number 155 was a soft spot for me. We recorded that after I had watched my daughter's first dance recital. First time seeing her in something like that, and I probably cried. Episode number 156, bring your own drinks etiquette. When you take beer, when you take wine to a party, are you to leave with what you took? Is it okay to leave with more, or do you leave it all there at the host's house when you go? We talk about that. Episode number 157, Sam Sprunger from 506 Section Lounge. And at the time, Big 10 plus 4, there's something else now because the Big 10 has Big Talk. That's right.
Big Talk.
He comes in and guests for Corey. We talk about Midwestern stereotypes. 158, Dylan Menges guests, creative director for Bible Project. And there was another episode where it was just filled with, instead of laughter, it was filled with encouragement. A lot of talk about nurturing the creativity that all of us have. Episode number 159 was our post Father's Day episode, which involved camping and a story of a brazen raccoon. Episode number 160. Again, this is a highly memories. One of the things about this podcast for me, I think for you guys too, is about cataloging our lives. And one of the things I look forward to is in 20 years listening to these episodes with my kids and with my wife. And I just, that is extraordinarily important to me with this. And episode number 160, it was the episode where we had just returned from our first and only week that we have taken off. And that is because Dylan and Corey's grandmother, Queenie, had passed away. So that, for better or for worse, was logged. But I think in that episode, you guys had just a beautiful remembrance of her life and what she meant to you guys. I shared some sentimental moments of fishing, as did Corey, fishing in the grandfather's pond. My sentimental moment of fishing included falling off of a boat. And in that episode marks the first time we were just fostering at that point, but we got Baby, our current bird. Yay. So episode 160.
I like the reoccurring sagas, the never flusher, the bird fostering. I mean, these threads of themes that started early and just kept going through the show. Yes, there are segments, but there are like accidental topics that sort of happen and come up that just end up living on, and it's kind of fun.
It's funny you say that, because as he said the bird thing, and I was thinking early on, I sort of one way we were trying to figure out how to describe ourselves, like what's our elevator pitch for the podcast, right? And I sort of said a more family friendly Seinfeld in the Midwest was kind of and that's how loose some of the threads are in Seinfeld, which is funny because each episode really can stand on its own. But if you've watched the entirety of Seinfeld, there's definitely these recurring themes, but not as close together as most sitcoms and shows are. It's a 15 episode, gap before this subject comes in again. And the more I think about it, the more it rings true that it is sort of like a more family friendly Seinfeld in the Midwest. So there you go.
There it is. Episode 161 was our daddest episode, where we talk about practical yet comfortable shoes, signing mortgages, the Bourbon Trail, finding good enough yet cost-effective ways to feed our family. Episode number 162, Corey squirts super glue into his eyes and gives us a visual comedy. Episode number 163, Corey sees Kevin Hart at the Comedy Cellar. Is gonna be a good night at the cellar. Episode number 164, big orders at drive-thrus, constitutes one of our, again, many times that we have talked about drive-through etiquette. We've talked about so many different types of etiquette. Drive-thrus have come up a lot. We've talked a lot about how to behave in a drive-through.
Yeah, how big of an order can you place? Can you pull out a gun while in a drive-through?
Exactly.
All kinds of stuff.
I know our listeners are ready for a well-deserved break, but I have to double click on this one because I have a follow-up to the Taco Bell order size. So in the last, when we talked about that, what number was that?
164.
So in 164, Dylan recommended, he basically said, if the order feels like it's too big, it's the polite thing to just go in, park and go in and place the order. It alleviates them trying to hit their time goals with individual cars and blah, blah, blah. So I went into Taco Bell. The whole family wanted orders except for Sherry. So I was like, this is kind of because of Dylan's advice. I went into the Taco Bell and placed the order. And at the end of placing the order, I said, I realized that was probably too big of an order for the drive-through. So I thought I would just come in here and I don't remember. I didn't say do you a solid because I didn't want to be that explicit. I just said it felt like the right thing to kind of come in. And she goes, thank you so much. You have no idea how thoughtful that is and considerate. I said, well, my brother worked at a Taco Bell. And so he actually told me that when I got a big order, she gave me free cinnamon twists. Yeah. Because I was considerate and I came in instead. So this show will literally get you free stuff if you listen and take our wisdom and advice.
Wonderful. Yeah. Guys, our advice works. Our advice works. Listen to it unless your doctor tells you not to. Number 165, more camping stories from both Corey and myself, including thunderstorms and more memories for Corey and his boy Kaser, and perhaps, we don't know, but maybe another story from an angry raccoon. Episode number 166, we celebrate Corey's birthday. We're celebrating my boy Isaac's birthday. And we talk about parenting other people's kids and the travesty that can occur when you have a bunch of younglings that are not yours under your care.
Kendall, well done, man. Thank you for trying to pivot on the fly. But I love how we took each of our chunks and did our own thing with it. So Dylan had the clever little, one-liners,
Little quips.
Little quips. You had like your personal favorite standout moments. And when we come back after this break from hearing from some of our friends in Odd Pods Media, you'll see what I did with my section of 33.
Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith. Everybody knows at the root of any good relationship, any relationship worth anything, is the only thing that matters between two people. And I'm talking about television. That's right. That's why you should listen to Married with Television, man, which is a podcast by my friends Shannon and Jamie, I call her cat ears, about movies and TV that they have loved for decades, man. You listen at marriedwithtv.com or anywhere you get your podcasts. They are proud members of the Odd Pods Media Network, man. Married with Television.
Hey, this is Russ.
And Lauren.
From the Infectious Groove Music YouTube channel.
And I have the Beard Owl podcast.
And we got called in just to contribute to the 200th episode for From the Middle.
From the middle.
Right. I thought you were going to do it 200 times.
I should have, really. Yeah. Do we have time for that?
I don't think so. I don't know how long their average episode. I don't think they're going to make this like 5 or 6 hours long.
I could do it.
Yeah, I bet you could. Congratulations on hitting 200 episodes. And thank you for having a podcast out there that's not just a bunch of people complaining and yelling at each other and giving people something they can listen to that puts some positivity out in the world. We love that.
Yeah, we do. You're like the Goldilocks of podcasts. You're not too far one way. You're not too far the other way. You're just right.
Some might even say they're in the middle.
In the middle, from the.
Right. Congrats on 200, guys.
Yeah, congrats.
Hey, it's Garrett from the Ever Trending Story podcast. Just here to congratulate you three on 200 episodes. That is an awesome milestone to hit. And I've really just been enjoying listening to you guys grow with each episode. And I just love you guys, man. Your promo says it best, that it feels like we're in the room hanging out with you guys. And that's really what it is. It's such a fun show to listen to. I learn a lot. And you guys definitely spark up some memories, of things that I also grew up with. And I don't know. I love your guys' experiences, and I just can't wait to see what the next 200 episodes bring. Keep it up, guys.
All right. Thanks for the love, everyone. It means a lot. Sometimes we feel like we're in a vacuum doing this thing, and we don't get as much interaction as we would like. We get a lot, which we super appreciate, but we always love so much hearing from others that you're never really sure what the ripple effect of these things is. But generally what I got from all 6 of those messages is that it's positive and that it people feel like they're hanging out with us. So that's super encouraging. All right. Dylan had clever quips. Kendall had personal favorite standout moments. A lot of my recaps are in the form of questions.
Oh boy.
Number 167, what's the etiquette on receiving alcohol as a housewarming gift? And would you let a carbon copy of yourself live out the rest of your days should you find yourself terminally ill, a la Swan Song starring Mahershala Ali? Number 168, how clever and cute should flight attendants try to get on the intercom? And how does one navigate the world of extracurricular activities with their young children? Number 169, we dreamt of pairing foreign Kit Kats with the Rocks Tequila, and I told the story of how my wife straight up flirted with Kirk Herbstreit on ESPN's College Game Day /Sports Center. Number 170, why are certain service industry establishments becoming slums, and what, if anything, do you do or say when the person in the public restroom stall next to you sneezes? Also, stop copying us, Pete Corielli and Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yeah, get your own show.
Number 171, why do we still live in a world with kings and queens? And what in the heck is going on with fashion?
You can do anything you want.
Number 172, Dylan and I brought in a taco pizza for Kendall, and we finally got to try those foreign Kit Kats and the Rocks Tequila while we discussed whether actual books and newspapers are better than digital screens. Number 173, what toys should go in the new Happy Meals for adults, and will one be thrown at me should I get involved in yet another road rage incident?
Lock him up.
Number 174, Dylan and I got to go see Mark Rebier in concert, thanks to my friend and former colleague from Germany, and we talked about it while I ate McDonald's in London. And Kendall fired up a new game/segment called Into It or Over It. Dylan.
And to add to this story, it's like the heartwarming news story that it's like update, 2 years later about the thing that happened that everyone thought was really nice. Stefan, who got us the tickets, came all the way to see me in the United States, and Corey, who he happens to know and have worked with. But he came all the way to the United States. And so we got to go out to dinner, and we got to thank him for the tickets in person, have a wonderful discussion. He's incredibly kind, intelligent, sociable human being. And it was an absolute pleasure getting to hang out with Stefan. So that's a fun update. Thanks for the tickets, buddy. We're so glad to have you in the US.
Yeah, that was literally just this past weekend. So the timing of that is funny.
Ooh.
Number 175, Dylan got the Office Lego set, and I told tales of my train trip to see the Burrito Boys in Manchester over our proverbial water cooler. We talked about the Grief Burrito guys a lot, and they have become dear friends. And that's just one side benefit of doing this podcast hobby. We've already talked about it in the Odd Pods Media Network, but for those that aren't in the network, that community in general is just so warm and helpful and kind, in our experience anyway. And making friends with those guys is definitely one of my favorite parts of this journey. Number 176, seriously, what's up with caffeine? And while we're at it, caviar and truffles. And what's Geneva, Switzerland like? Number 177, apparently there's no better way to celebrate Halloween than by discussing holiday-adjacent movies and whether or not one should feel free to take their shoes off on an airplane. Number 178, we learned that discussing A Christmas Story 2 is definitely more classy and polite than bathroom conversation/toilet humor. But what's worse than the latter is streaming media or taking a phone call while you're streaming. Knock it off.
Streaming while streaming. I like it.
Number 179, we hung out with a bunch of dudes from Texas who are good with their meat. Do your mouth a favor and check out Grab 'em in the Brisket for tips and tricks on being better with yours.
You and the nerd need to go on a little retreat.
Number 180, Thanksgiving had us researching the history of TV dinners because turkey sucks, and I finally harvested a buck.
Yeah. That means he killed it with a gun.
We're just being nice. And number 181, we met the creative mastermind behind Rookie Mage Games, Jordan McLaughlin, and learned from him how fun and hilarious card games are thought up and produced. That one's very educational. Yeah, Dylan.
Double click. We did a follow-up episode with him on his newest Kickstarter, which he's already hit his goal on in like half the time he needed. So if you enjoyed the episode with Jordan and maybe didn't know about the Tangent episode, go subscribe to our YouTube channel, watch that, and then go check out the Kickstarter because he has an awesome new game.
I attribute the success of his Kickstarter directly to our show.
1,000%. Yes.
You're welcome, Jordan.
Yep.
Number 182, Kendall's Wolverines beat up on Dylan and I's Buckeyes this year. So collectively, we came up with a punishment for the friendly wager we set up going into the game to be served later. And to deal with the pain, I partied with our mom in Vegas, and Dylan went to a Gaither vocal band concert. Number 183, Dylan and I had to try foods we hate one last time in a segment called One Last Shot. And my eldest daughter told us about the business monkey that she visits in her brain head before she dozes off to sleep each night.
Easily one of my favorite topics that we have ever discussed.
Hilarious.
I still have we ran out of time. I still have questions. I could do 3 more episodes just asking her questions about the brain monkey.
She'll be able to answer them because she started journaling what happens each night with Toby.
Nice.
So she'll have rich answers for you.
She's got to turn that into a fiction series.
I would not be surprised. Number 184, which American fast food franchise do many Japanese people visit on Christmas Day? And why does another country celebrate the holiday with a 42-foot goat made of straw? Number 185, the best gifts we got for Christmas were for one of us, a smart thermostat, for another, a can of foreign beans, and for another, a robot that sprays one's beanhole with water. Also, why is Bella Poarch so dang popular with the TikTokers for barely moving her face?
Very real questions.
Number 186, we learned that they're now making hard Mountain Dew, so we had to try each new flavor as we recapped just some of what made 2022 special. Number 187, how do they give Pokemon clever names with combined and double meanings in both English and their original Japanese? This question plagues my mind regularly. And why is the customer experience at the Outback Steakhouse in Independence, Ohio consistently terrible? The answer to one or both questions might be David. Number 188, insert the clap emoji after each of the following words. Why do people FaceTime with others holding their phone flat like a plate with the screen facing the sky? And between Dylan and Kendall, which is right about where someone should start watching Star Trek? Number 189, what's the best food in Birmingham, Alabama? And in the capital of the country that houses Birmingham, elite cab drivers don't need sat-nav because they passed one of the hardest exams in the world. Number 180, for 189 episodes, Kendall Costner legitimately thought that Dylan's regular mouth farting was a tick. And how long is too long to wait in line for a lobster roll? The juxtaposition of some of these crack me up, whether you guys are enjoying them or not.
I am, man.
We took our second week off the week prior to this one because Kendall had lost his voice due to an overly tight budgie smuggler. Dylan told a hilarious travel story, and we talked about the best part of this year's Super Bowl, Chris Stapleton. Number 192, a geek friend of ours from Philly showed up to talk about whether or not it's weird to give friends clothes that you don't want to wear or that don't fit anymore, as well as our new understandings regarding Emperor Palpatine. Number 193, how can hotels survive when they have garbage internet? Which cities should have an XFL team? And what is Kunk doing on this capital R rock known as Earth?
What a great show.
Number 194, Kendall and I discovered that when Dylan leaves, we give less Fs because we have to grow up and change our oil, move furniture, and repair our own bikes after we figure out their proper orientation. Number 195, what can't you find at Jungle Gyms in Cincinnati? And why don't our wives understand our love of pro wrestling / sports entertainment? Yes, Dylan. Double click away, sir.
Several moments recently, I just have to say that the wrestling thing has come up, and it's been multiple times. Geek culture, things that just doesn't understand. But wrestling is one of them. I don't remember the actor, but the other day we were watching something and it was one of their favorite actors. And we were watching a documentary. And out of the closet, as he's like packing in the documentary, comes 2 wrestling belts that the guy puts on both shoulders. And my wife just looks at me like, ugh, because of the thing. And then he starts saying, if only I had my mates in a trampoline. We'd be able to pile drive each other. And then another documentary series that I've been watching. We'll talk more about both of these at length. One of the main guys in the documentaries starts making Star Trek jokes and then talks about how he loves binging Star Trek. So it was so funny because how many references for like And that was multiple times in 2 or 3 days with Bree that people made wrestling WWF/WWE wrestling jokes. And it was just like, it's just a guy thing. I don't know how to explain it.
One of the things that this podcast does for me, I think for us, is it gives us the opportunity to talk to someone else about some things that like so many other people in our lives don't share with us. And then even if it is something that like you guys don't share with me, you're still willing to hear me talk about it for a few minutes, right? And ask thoughtful questions. That has been kind of a smaller theme recently. We've discussed that fact, the things that we love, that we try to get our kids into, we try to get our spouse into, but they just don't get it. So you guys fill in a little bit of a void for me in that realm.
It's cool to be seen by each of you and by some of our listeners, but I secretly love it when pop culture agrees with us and confounds our wives even more. Number 196, what's the most random or least logical way to fill out your March Madness bracket? And what's the deal with ribbon cutting ceremonies?
Ugh.
Number 197, we tried some of the crazy stuff Dylan bought us from Jungle Gyms while we ponder how crazy it is that you could just have total strangers bike blocks through the rain to bring you tacos. Number 198, how far into the spring can we go without mowing our lawns before our early bird neighbors with worms in their mouths freak out? And what's going to happen now that the UFC and WWE are a part of the same company? And number 199, how dangerous is a dimly lit farm supply store? And why do my brother and I still like gospel quartets? You guys, that rounds out 99 episodes of our show. And I just have to say, for my part, if I'm being super, super transparent, there are some weeks, and it's not often, that I think, why am I doing this? We haven't gained some of the subscriber, follower, social media traction that we hoped. And I was sort of lamenting this to a friend, and they said, what was the purpose? Why did you start it? And I said, to hang out with my brother and my friend, to have fun, and to talk about things that we enjoy. And I keep going back to that. If that is the metric, we have done that and then some. The guests that we've had, the things that I've learned about how to facilitate conversation, how to interview, a little bit of improv, how to riff, how to, and it's not that you're always going in with those, that training in mind, right? But it's just a side benefit of what this is. And that person is so right. That was the goal. And there's no way we could have predicted that this show would be a standing appointment to get us through a global pandemic. And when we couldn't socialize, it was something that we could look forward to once a week. And so I really, truly, at the end of the day, don't care if we ever get another follower, subscriber, listener, email, voicemail, text. It's just fun. It gives us a different creative outlet. And so I'm going to keep going until one of y'all says it's time to tap out. Dylan, you once joked that perhaps continuing this show is more ignorance than commitment. And and I don't know, man. It's just, if that is our bar, then we have surpassed that bar. And so that's just my sort of musings at the moment. So thank you for committing. Thank your families for committing. It does. It takes a few hours each week away from them, and so it's been a ride. And I enjoy it, and I have learned so much. So from me to the two of you, thank you. Namaste.
Oh, what belt level are you?
Mauve. I'm a mauve.
That harkens back. There's a few people in this world that know that I was just referencing a joke, but I'm not going to say what joke because it would get me in trouble. No, thank you, Corey. That was very kind and thoughtful. And that's also been my attitude. And I look at the one basic number of past 30 days just on the podcast side. I don't pay much attention to how many people are with us on YouTube. The fact is, like 99% of the people who follow us are following us in the podcast space, and that's perfectly fine with me. But I mean, we're talking about a podcast that we don't see 10K per episode. We see like hundreds per episode, and it takes a while to get there. And but it's not about that. It is about the few of those who sort of have meant the most to us and have been not just vocal but supportive, and gave us fodder for ideas and called in with funny messages and things like that. They're as much a part of this as the three of us, but also, man, the three of us getting together, discussing whatever we want to discuss, like you said, is very much the point for me. And yeah, I mean, I get to talk to you guys about things that I don't get to talk to a lot of other people about. And I love that. So there you have it.
Thanks, bro.
I've never been a golfer, but people always describe it like it's that one amazing shot that'll keep you going back. The one hole in one. And I think the podcast feels like that. It's certainly not, few and far between that we have a great episode or a really fun episode, at least for us. I think it's pretty regular, but every now and then there's an especially fun episode. And that's that really great shot that it's like, no, I got to keep going because this is too good. I'm not above saying, but also please share all our stuff with your friends and go listen, because I don't care about making money for the sake of making money. I care about that because then it helps justify our existence and helps us kind of keep going. And if we need to upgrade a mic or if we need to add a camera or whatever we can. So please, if you think our content is great, share it. But it's that, man. It keeps you coming back because it's just a ton of fun. And we're authentically ourselves. I don't think any of us are anything that we're not normally. Although all of us maybe at any given time while recording are trying to bring the most humor we can into a situation. It's not in any way not us. It's still us. We just want to make it the funniest content that we can. So it's maximum enjoyment for you. So it's a ton of fun. This is the kind of content, Ricky Gervais has said, like when people ask him how he keeps how he keeps creating such great content, he'll say, I only try to write what I know. And so it's only stuff that he's lived or people that have been close to him that have been in situations. And I think that's exactly what this is. I know growing up with Corey, like we were trying to find really funny, kind of more clean, because that's what we were allowed to watch, comedians. That's the kind of stuff that we would have been able to watch or been allowed to watch. And that's the kind of stuff that we want to create because it's just the stuff that we really, really like and really enjoy. And so I think talking about getting to have a freaking Lego design master on the show and stand-up comedian, some of the interesting guests that we've had for serious discussions. I mean, really serious stuff like Nate Weber and mental health and doctors and, news anchors. I mean, just this is stuff that we would have dreamed of doing as kids and teenagers to have any kind of place to create and put out content like this. And so I'm just very grateful for that. I think we have such a, we don't have a media corporation that stands between us and content creation. We can create what we like and people like it or they don't. And we hope that you do, and we hope that you'll share it. We'll hope that you'll support our sponsors, and we hope that you'll check out the other shows in Odd Pods Media. But that's not why we're doing it. We're doing it because it's the content that we want, and we enjoy it. So thank you for everyone who's listened, who's made 200 episodes super awesome. Please continue to listen and comment and like and share and subscribe because that does help. We do like knowing that people are enjoying the content as much as we are. And hopefully we'll have more comedians, and hopefully we'll have people that work for Lucasfilm and Marvel and the comics and the entertainment studio. And we'll have more musicians. And, we're constantly reaching out to people. And if any of you know anybody who you think does anything really interesting, find out if they like to show up as a guest on a podcast and send them our way. And so thank you. Just a big thank you to you guys and all the listeners. It's been a ton of fun.
Perfectly said, my bro. Thank you all for the memories. And here's to however many more. Be kind to each other.